All right, cheers. We're back at it again with these fucking juveniles and our maiden races. First up, we got here Episode004-Maidens. As you can see in that last race, we went a little shorter than the 7 furlong race we did before. And we landed in DFL. And we were last the entire freaking race. So 4 is not our distance. We are facing the reality this horse could be a donkey. We do have a 65 overall fleet figure now, and we do have a little data overall on the fleet figures with 3 different distances. It's looking like sprint is not really our thing. It's looking like the longer 10 may not be our thing. Our best one so far is 7 by a pretty good margin. That one's a 68 fleet figure versus 63 down here for the 10 furlong. And 61 for the 5 furlong. So we probably want to pick something kind of in the middle-ish around the 7. This is a pretty big drop off in just 2 furlongs. And also there could be some noise here. You know, one of these 2 could be a lot worse than we end up at. Or this horse could just be a horse that needs time to mature, you know, and it's going to take a while. We don't know any of these things. Probably shoot for 6 or 8 furlongs on this next race, maiden here. See if we can find a 6 or 8 furlong. So the first one is 8 furlong, 40%. Pretty good size field. There's a 6 at 60%. Weather's not as good. 6 at 100, 6 at 80. There's a 7 at 60, a 7 at 60 for S+. An 8 at 80, a 7 at 60, an 8 at 20, 6 at 0, 8 at 20 again. These are all a few days out, though. I'm going to go with the earlier race and try and race more. I think the 8 at 40 is a good place to start here and see how we do. And I might not be able to do video for the next one or the next couple. I'm going to be out of town, but I still might race some of these guys. So next time we check in, I may go a few races, or if one breaks our maiden, I'll stop and I'll save that one for the next video. But let's do 8 at 40%. See how we do for Episode004-Maidens. Episode2, we see here we also went shorter. We did 6 the first time, then 8, then 4, so we kept kind of going down. Ended up at 6, middle of the pack. Kind of came back a little from back, end of the pack there on that race, looks like, starting out in 11th, finishing in 6th, but it's only 4 furlongs, and those, position changes can happen pretty quickly in those races. And we see we are a little higher fleet figure than we were at 6. If we go to our fleet figure tab, we can see the trends kind of up and to the left like this, so that's pretty good indication. We probably are more of a sprinter on this horse. We want to try 4, 5, 6 on our distance pref. The other thing I check sometimes that I don't do as much, but you could definitely do, is go to the charts tab for your horse. And here's where you can kind of see information on, overall its podium rate. By distance, you can see the podium rate. I used to use this a lot before they had some of the other charts on Fleet Figure to kind of get a sense of where I was best at. You can see your racing ROI, which were negative 1400 Derby on this horse. We have a little bit of earnings. You can see by field size kind of how the horse does. And then the part I really want to look at is down here. Race time comparison versus all S minus grade horses, or grade S minus horses. Here's where you can kind of see on this bar chart where you stack up, and if you're really like an outlier, one of the best, or in the middle of the pack, or what. And you got to go to your filter first. So this horse is RD. So I want to click on RD here to compare to RD horses. And here you can see we're a little towards the higher end of the box and whiskers charts here are like 4 and 6 furlongs. Then we drop a little bit at 8. So it kind of goes along with the fleet figures, but sometimes fleet figures are a little more misleading, I think. And race times can be more important. We talked about fleet figures, like there's a bug on the yielding where it kind of tends to be fast, like a higher fleet figure sometimes. I also believe fleet figure is kind of based on your competition. So if you get into a race, and this happens a lot with like claimers and stuff, where you go like way down to a low claimer and you don't get claimed, but you're against like weaker horses and you just crush them, your fleet figure gets really high. That doesn't mean you can compete with the big dogs in a big race. It's just kind of like an indication that your horse beat the crap out of the horses it was racing against. And so that high fleet figure might throw you off. Whereas the time is time. Your horse is either fast at a distance or not, and you can tell relative to the population where it's at. And here we can see the 6 is slightly higher than the 4 actually, even though I think our 4 fleet figure was better than our 6 fleet figure, right? And that was yielding too. So that's why sometimes like this could be noise and just a factor of that one race versus this. We might end up with a graph that's more like, this up here later on with something higher on 6, 7, 5, and 4 not being as higher. This 4 kind of being an aberration. 69 is not terrible for a S-, but 70s is definitely a good spot to be. So, all right, let's go for like five or 6. I'll try to find 5. I think 5 furlong. We haven't done 5 furlong yet. That might give us one more data point on how this horse is going to do. We got a 560%. This one could go soft as the problem is 60%. And we talked before, we're not afraid of weather, but 60% is not ideal if we can get better. And sure enough, 3 hours later, we got a 5 at 20%. So that's like a no-brainer to me. And it's exactly what we wanted. I'm going to go with the Thundering Head Maiden for 5 furlongs, 20%. And we'll see how Cerveza Dos does. Boom. All right. Cerveza Trace. So we went 6 furlongs that time after going 9 the first time and 10 the second. At 9, we got 4th. At 10, we went a little longer because we finished faster, and we did much worse at 9th. We dropped it down to 6th this time, and we got 4th again. And the fleet figure is roughly the same as the 9. If we look here, 6 sloppy, 9 soft, 67 or 66. So pretty good. Could be somewhere between 6 and 9 is what this horse ends up being. We could also maybe go even shorter to 4, 5. It could be perhaps that we're even better at 4 and 5. But 4th place is not bad. I might want to try 7 or 8. This could be a horse that has like decent stamina and speed, kind of one of those middle stats. And so 7 or 8 furlongs soft would be what I'm looking at. We'll go to our maiden filter. And we got an 8 at 20%, a 9 at 60, a 7 at 0, 10 at 80%, a 6 at 0. Here we go, 8 at 100%. Wonder if we got a 7 furlonger, 8 at 60, 7 at 80. Don't know which one I like here. 8 at 100 could be good. I already have a horse in that field though. So I'm going to go 7 at 80. Has less in the field at the moment, but it's further out, so it could definitely fill up. So I like a little closer to the 6 we just did. And I don't have a horse in that field already, so not racing against myself for that top spot. So I'm going Cerveza Trace, 7 furlongs, 80%, and we'll see how we do. All right, Cerveza Quattro, 4th place on this one, also at 10 furlong. We were in 2nd in the beginning. Last time we were 11 furlong, we got 2nd of 9, and we got 5th of 12 on the 10 soft. The first time, this is our horse that I think has the best shot at breaking the maiden the soonest. We have 1 place, so 1 podium out of 3 starts. We have 1,600 career earnings so far, and we're slightly positive with our massive crown stemmies, and without, we were 67 Derby negative. Let's look at this one also. RTF, so right turf on the chart. We can see on the box and whiskers here, which I hope my video is not in the way of. I realized recently. We can see we're at the higher end of the boxes and whiskers here at like 10 furlongs. 11 it drops a little bit. If I go to fleet figures, 11 was down here at 63. We had a 65 softs, 69 at yielding the last one. Remember, yielding can be faster sometimes. It's kind of trending to the left here, so I think a little shorter still. Like, 8, 9 could be where we want to be for Cerveza Quattro. I wouldn't go a lot shorter, but I think maybe I'll see if I have 9 first. Oh, look at that. 9 furlongs, 0%. Rain coming up in 12 hours. That's our race right there. We could be breaking the maiden on Mystic River commemorative too. Okay? We got a good shot. I like this one. Confirm entry. Last one, Cerveza Cinco. This one, we got the race canceled on us twice. Remember, we did Trackside Tuesday at first, and I knew that was a selection committee one, and we weren't good enough. In fact, the race didn't even go. 3 out of 12. Never mind. It wasn't ever good enough. Just not enough entrants. That's disappointing. And then I entered, without doing the stream, the Bluegrass Maiden, which is coming up right after that because I knew I had a second option. That one canceled also. So this kind of stinks. There's not enough A- horses, I feel like, is what it's kind of boiling down to. We're between 4 and 8 furlong. We're kind of looking for here, I think, to get a sense of where we're at. Let's look what races we have. So, this is a hard choice. This one will run, and it's in 16 minutes till it closes. There's only 4 horses, but we're going to pay $1,400 Derby at 8 furlongs to see if our horse gets spanked. We could also try doing some handicaps that are cheaper because those are definitely going to fill too. It just seems like the maidens, it's not going to happen. There's very few A- maidens. There's not enough people entering. Here's one in 7 hours, only has a single entrant, and it's me. Sad. It's sad what's happened to the lower grades sometimes. 8 at 60%. There's 2 entrants, not me, coming up in 21 hours. That one might run 10 at 40%. Remember our first race, though, with the maidens, we kind of got our butt kicked against a bunch of B+ horses. And so I don't have a lot of faith in that stakes race that's going off in a few minutes. I think we'd get killed on this. That said, our crown stimmy would be higher on this, and these poor 3 horses in here are not going to get to race if we don't enter this. So here's one where you have it on record. I'm going to take one for the team, and I'm going to donate $1,400 Derby. Do not recommend trying this at home. And we're going to enter 8 furlong 0%, $1,400 Derby one for our poor little Cerveza Cinco here. And at least we're getting some crown. I don't know if we're going to have any sort of chance at a podium here. We got to beat at least one of these horses, which is not that hard. But then again, I got a feeling I might be dead last on Cerveza Cinco. So we'll see. Until next time, catch you guys later. IMO NFA GFY.